Yeah, so my name is not important. We're all, names are just labels for temporary groupings of molecules, I think we could all agree. So if you just close your eyes and pretend you're me, you probably could be doing this yourself. Or this could be you right now. But just to get a quick, whatever of the room, like, do we have any Somervillans here? Somervillans? Woo! Any all-stoners?
Hey, yeah.
Hey, all right. Any Ken morons? Any Back Bay Beelzebubs? I think that one is my favorite grouping of molecules that exist. I like those people. Anyway, that's neat. So I'm actually from Michigan, which makes me a Michigander, which is the male of the Michigoose species, which you might have heard of because of our, we shit everywhere. We just shit everywhere. I don't know if you guys knew. Yeah, so sometimes when I don't have toilet paper, like I'll reach for a handful of Q-tips and just twist. But then I'll feel like that's really environmentally, like, not good. Because we didn't even use the other half of the handful. I think capitalism is destroying the planet. And I think, like, this is a great moment to talk about it because poetry, I think, can help. Like, I think there's all these people in these jobs doing, like, advertising and they wish they weren't. And we could just use old poetry to talk about, you know, like, what we needed to sell. You know, like fucking, send not to know for whom the bell tolls, it tolls for thee. Toll House cookies. Like, I think that would solve a lot of our problems. Whoever that guy was in advertising, make him, like, save the planet somehow. And then just, yeah. That's John Donne, by the way, not Ernest Hemingway. Ernest Hemingway used the proposed cookie slogan for his book title, and then John Donne, if you didn't know, is a dead poet whose name rhymes. Yeah, I think there's also some alcohol named after him, perhaps. But anyway, let me get back to the beginning of this, which is that I don't know what the fuck I'm going to talk about, but I'm here now, and so that's the worst thing for everyone. Okay, so sometimes people say things to me, and I'm like, oh, I know that word, I'm going to make a song out of it, or like say the next part of it in a song. So last week at work, somebody was like, hey, Adam, question. Tell me what you think about me. I buy my own diamonds and I buy my own rings. I'm gonna call you Sally when I'm feeling lonely. But after it's all over, please get up and leave. Which makes a fucking weird, like, work situation. Actually, my question was about the expense reports for your Toronto trip. Also, I don't really appreciate it that you feel like you have to stipulate your rules for, like, lonely hookups. Why did you think you had to do that? If you called me lonely, I would obviously not come over. I am your boss. Right. So that's cool. That's great. I promised myself if I got in trouble doing this that I would pull out this piece of paper that I had, which I can't find now because I always put myself in situations that I can't get out of on purpose. It's a really good trait to have. If you're a comedian, oh shit, nothing is good. Anyway, so this thing is. So I brought this. This is the stand-up comedy machine that I use in my house, and they were like, "Hey, do you have Anyway, I brought it. So it's here now. I'll tell a true story for a second. So I was on the way over here, and my Uber driver was like, hey, well, how come you have that speaker and a mic stand? And I was like, because I'm doing stand-up comedy at a poetry reading. And she was like, well, how does that work? And I was like, I do not know. I hope it does at all. And then she was like, tell me what The Aristocrats is about. And I was like, I would, but I feel like it would make the rest of this Uber ride really fucking awkward. So long story short, it's a joke that's supposed to go on forever, and then at the end of the joke, you're supposed to say The Aristocrats. And she was like, I still don't get the joke. And I was like, that's great, that's fine. It's awesome. I wish you'd never heard of it. But anyway, so like, people from Michigan, right? Am I right? So we had a few people from Michigan so far. Is anyone in the audience from Michigan?
What up?
No? If you were from Michigan, like for me, growing up in Michigan was like, I always thought that a Detroit was a magical type of tiger that turned into a lion around August and made my dad drink. Not August Smith, obviously. The month. But I feel like in Michigan there's a surplus of people being named after months. It's like, well, fuck. What do we look at all the time? A fucking calendar. When I was in kindergarten, there was a girl named September, and her girlfriend, that's a weird kindergarten. Her sister's name was Missy, and I didn't know that, but one time Missy challenged me on something, and I was like, listen here, Missy. And she was like, how the fuck did you know my name? And I was like, I guess I was just lucky. So I just recently got out of a long-term relationship, which is normal to do. You should do it every 5 years or something. Just get out of a long-term relationship, and then you'll be out of it, and then it'll be normal. And so, like, but anyway, to get into what I'm gonna say is, like, I've been watching a lot of relationship reality TV shows to help myself through it. A lot of reruns. So I've been watching a lot of John and K +8. You guys know this show? Like, it's not making me feel that much better. Like, it's sort of making me feel like whatever the amount of kids I'm gonna have depends on whatever my future wife's name rhymes with. So, like, it makes me feel better about my decision to break it off with Jolevin, at least. Can't have that many little ones running around looking like me. I feel like I don't think I'm gonna have kids because, like, I don't have a uterus, and it's not really my choice. Like I shouldn't. It's not me. Also, I'm like suspicious of having kids. I'm suspicious of anything where like the Republican Party is trying to make women do it. Like, that doesn't seem right. There's probably a good reason not to have kids. I bet it's something they're not telling us. Like, I feel like, yeah, you could totally have your own kid, right? Like, do it if you want, sure. But like, who's that kid? Like, who's that kid gonna be? Who's it gonna be? Like, you don't know. Could be like, maybe the rules of like reincarnation are real, and you're gonna end up with like the Macaulay Culkin character from The Good Son or Chucky. There's also plenty of kids that already exist that like you could just go up to and be like, hey, are you cool or not? And then be like, yeah. And then be like, I will raise you. I will just raise an existing person instead of like adding to whatever amount of people exist in the world. That seems pretty responsible. Maybe I'll just do that. So I googled this. This is apparently an answer you can get from Google. Is like, People produce 125,000 tons of shit throughout their lives. So like every kid you have, that's 125,000 pounds of solid waste. You're adding to the world. I feel like we're all just like, well, we got there, we're here now, like, we're gonna do it. We're just gonna put our shit out there, like, just do it. And I'm probably a hypocrite. I'll probably end up having kids, right? And then I'll be a hypocrite, but like, since I know the rules of improv, I'll just be like, yes, and... That's what I feel like every presidential candidate needs to know. It's like, the rules of improv. You can get away with anything with that. I don't feel like global warming is actually a thing. Like, I just think the Earth is getting closer and closer to something it's been looking for a long time.
The sun.
It's getting warmer. Warmer and warmer. Like, I don't think street harassment is a thing. I think it's just something that people are trying to make us think is a thing instead of woman harassment, which is what it is. Like, people are just harassing women, right? It's not necessarily about the street. It's like, oh, well, street harassment, there's a solution involved with that, like, just don't go outside. pretty obvious. But like, what about the men who are doing it? Doesn't that seem like the bigger issue? That's what I think. It's not really a joke. It's just what I think. Have a great night.